Por favor, ¿dónde fallan? Muchas gracias. I'm back.
When I first attempted a video comic feature, I thought of it like scaling Mount Everest, the ultimate grueling challenge of dedication with rewards of prestige and self-satisfaction for completion. Climbing the peak a second time would be a painful and fruitless endeavor not worth the time investment. But here I go anyway. Several months ago I was given Valve's orange box as a gift. Although the bundle contained no less than 5 games, I plucked Portal from the pile and left the rest of the games forgotten and still half-wrapped. Much like the itchy sweaters your grandmother sent you every Christmas until that year you forgot to send her a thank you card and she died. It was only a week or so ago that during a spell of boredom I accidentally tripped over the forgotten games and decided to try them out. I appeared to have 3 separate Half-Life games, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, and Half-Life 2 Episode 2. With no help, these cryptic names left me confused about exactly what order I was supposed to play them in. If Half-Life 2 were the original game, then Half-Life 2 Episode 2 should be its sequel. Half-Life 2 Episode 1 would then logically have to be some kind of prequel to the original Half-Life 2. But that would make the original Half-Life 2 the true second episode, and Half-Life 2 Episode 2 would actually become Half-Life 2 Episode 3, but Episode 3 is the next game. A kind friend eventually explained to me that the Half-Life 2 episodes are sequels to the original Half-Life 2. It would seem to me that the sequel to a game called Half-Life 2 should be called Half-Life 3, but then we wouldn't want to confuse people, and so I started playing Half-Life 2. All things considered, the Half-Life 2 series is quite good. The story is intriguing, the world is detailed and immersive, and the gameplay is, well, it is as much fun as getting shot at can be expected to be. But for all the remarkable care they've given to the game, they somehow managed to neglect and ruin their best idea of all. I am referring, of course, to the headcrab. For those unfamiliar with it, the headcrab is a half-life enemy that leaps onto a person's head, pries open the skull with its beak, mutates the host by causing their finger bones to grow into claws and burst through the skin, and their chest to split open into a gaping maw. The headcrab then assumes complete control of its victim while leaving them alive and completely aware of their horrible situation, usually screaming in agony as the headcrab wanders them around to attack potential food. This concept was so immensely disturbing to me that when I first encountered headcrabs, I had to stop playing the game to clean up the urine stains on my carpet. It was only many days later when I worked up the courage to play the game again that I discovered that headcrabs are actually a massive joke. Some omitted details in headcrab game mechanics turned what could have been the scariest enemies ever into comical distractions. The first thing you realize when fighting headcrabs is that headcrabs are not capable of infesting you. Although possibly done as a kind of gameplay balance, it does make them significantly less scary. In fact, they don't infest anyone. In spite of an abundance of random civilians and expendable allies that they could infest, headcrabs seem to harmlessly bounce off of them. And because you never see an infestation occur, you soon forget that headcrabs are anything but sacks of potatoes randomly hopping around the combat area. Of course, you still encounter the headcrab zombies with some frequency, and their disturbing screams and gruesome appearance continue to be frightening until that inevitable moment when you see 8 or so at once and you realize, wait a second, they're all exactly the fucking same. Every single zombie wears blue pants, a white shirt, and is male. What is even more perplexing is that this clothing combination is not worn by anybody else in the game, leaving you to invent your own scenarios about how this clothing phenomenon came about. Maybe a headcrab requires a white cotton catalyst to infest you, or perhaps the first thing they do after infesting somebody is walk them down to the Gap to pick out the official headcrab uniform, or perhaps they are just fashion Nazis punishing anybody who dares wear white after Labor Day. Eventually, pondering the various comical scenarios became so entertaining that I completely forgot I was up to my waist in exploded mangled gore. At first I thought headcrabs must just be stupid, because I had seen them wander aimlessly into fire, explosives, and giant spiky whirly blades of death. This view was shaken a little bit when I played Episode 1 and found that they were smart enough to use grenades. Not smart enough to drop grenades, but at least enough to use them. Actually, let me think of all the things I've seen headcrabs doing. Wandering through fire, blowing themselves up, lying face down in water or toxic waste, or just running at anyone and anything that happens to be holding a gun. I don't think they're dumb, I think they're suicidal. I have never seen a headcrab try to eat anything. The only thing they seem to do is lie in a corner waiting for death. I do not know what could have upset all the headcrabs so much that they embrace death so willingly. Maybe their ungrateful grandchildren just never wrote to thank them for these sweaters.